I'm Sarina Fazan. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm a journalist, producer, and a host of On the Record. And again, thank you so much for joining me for this podcast episode. I'm here with David Yates and Alex Harris, two very well-known names. So let's get started and let's go on the record. Guys, thanks so much for being here. So,
Good to be here.
David Yates is a filmmaker and Alex Harris is an internationally known musician, which I have been listening to your music, I told you, in my car every day this week since I got a chance to meet you at the Hyde House and talk to you. So, guys, okay, I know I'm talking way too much caffeine. So, David, let's start with you.
You can't have too much caffeine.
You can never have too much caffeine, right? Let's start with you since you are right next to me. Just give a brief intro of who you are.
So I was the former CEO of the Ironman Triathlon Company and Brands Worldwide Sporting Events back in the 90s. Did that for about 10 years. Previously was a CPA, believe it or not, in my prior life. Nobody believes that. They're like, you did what? And then for the last 14 years, I was a CEO at Clearwater and Aquarium, and I produced the Dolphin Tale movies and documentaries about that.
Did you hear that? He produced the Dolphin Tale. Harry Connick Jr. played David Yates.
He was he did me better than I do me. Anyway, and it still wasn't exact. I mean, we changed the role a little bit. No, Harry was just great. All the actors were so great to work with. It was good for the aquarium, but also great for the area. The economic impact the movies brought was it was just, and we did too. Dolphin Tale 1 and Dolphin Tale 2. So being able to bring two movies to the area was just really cool. Really cool.
So I have so many questions on that. So Alex, okay, tell us about you.
Well, I should say that I'm from a little country town called Manchester, Georgia, but I'm living here in the Sunshine State now, and had a chance to just, as a musician, to share my gifts and talents through what I do with my philanthropy, which is the Arts Conservatory for Teens, which helps a lot of underprivileged, low-income to moderate-income families excel. I consider it the pathway of access to opportunities, and with our mission to educate, empower, and enrich the lives of youth and teens. And so I see my musical platform beyond just a stage and doing what I do as a songwriter, singer, music entertainer, and having the opportunity to travel around the world, but also to bring all that experience here as this is our starting place for the model that we created, that we have plans and big visions to scale anywhere that will embrace this vision that is working here. We have 100% high school graduation rate, and our students are excelling into the creative workforce as well as into the traditional workforce. And so we do believe in the power of what the arts bring to the community and in the lives of students. And so that's what I'm about. Music, faith, and education.
I know, I was about to say, okay, so, you know, David, I just learned about you that you're a CPA, but Alex here too.
Long time ago.
But listen to this.
Don't hold that against me, brother.
No, I think it's great. I listen, I need someone to help me with my numbers. But he has you have a doctorate, you have, I mean, can you I can't even remember everything he has
So I talk about education is very important because I come from a large family of 8, right? And so 5 boys, 3 girls. And growing up, father's a pastor, a small congregation there in Manchester, right off Highway Georgia 85. And so faith, education, and music is something that was brought. So one of the things I've always been music. It wasn't that I pursued education as a fallback. It was part of how do I expand, how do I utilize all the gifts and talents that I've been entrusted with. And so I pursued my undergraduate in sociology and psychology. I studied classical voice. I then matriculated to the master's level, and I said, well, since I have the faith background, why not do a master's in theology, focus in ethics?
Wow.
And then I did a master's in social work because I'm focusing on the macro as opposed to clinical and how I deal with systems and organizations, which is all working for me now. And I did extended studies in adolescent counseling at the Harvard University, and then went to Nova Southeastern and got my terminal degree, which is the doctorate in organizational leadership with a minor in curriculum. And I have been able to just integrate all of the gifts and talents and to pour back into community and basically create clear pathways for success for those who are marginalized due to their circumstances at birth, and this is working, and I'm singing and speaking about it everywhere I can.
And I have an accounting degree.
Yeah, okay.
Congrats, that's great.
No,
Thank you.
both of you are so incredible. And so I asked Alex too, like, what brought him to Tampa initially, and he said, well, it was the weather. So let's talk about, though, you, David, and the film industry here in Tampa. You are working on some amazing projects right now. One, in fact, I'm so flattered and humbled by this, but involving me.
I'm connected to it.
Yeah, very, very deeply connected. Can you talk about the projects you're working on and how important the film industry here is in Florida,
Right.
and we need to grow it. I mean,
Yes.
Alex and I had been talking about that the other day, so I'd like for you to take the stage.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Georgia, because Georgia has, what happened in the film industry in the state of Florida, when I got Dolphin Tale greenlit in 2010, there were film incentives offered by the state for studios to come film in the state. So most states offer something to studios to come film in their state. Florida didn't have that, but thankfully right at that time, they passed a bill, the legislature did that offer that. So I got Dolphin Tale greenlit at exactly the right time, because film incentives were just offered at that time. But since then, film incentives have gone away from a statewide basis. Now, counties will offer incentives sometimes, like Pinellas does and Hillsborough does, but there are no statewide incentives right now. So the film industry in Florida has been deflated a lot the last 10 years, and a lot of it's gone to Georgia. So Georgia offers incentives. They're smart to do that. So a lot of the Florida film industry has gone to Georgia, but a lot's now coming back to Florida. What has caused us to do in Florida, if you're a Florida filmmaker, is to get better and smarter about how you film. You may not have the 25% state incentive anymore, but you learn to be more effective, more efficient in how you do, and you get in-kind donations. The counties get behind this. So you're seeing the film industry in Florida coming back now. Hopefully, we're working on some ideas to get film incentives back again. I'm working on that behind the scenes, but film is a great industry. It's been a big part of Florida for a long time. Listen, every studio head I know in Hollywood, I know a bunch, they all want to film in Florida. They prefer to be here. Mm-hmm. They just don't have incentives yet, but we're getting some of that back. But now we're doing a lot more smaller scale films, maybe smaller budget films that don't need incentives. I'm working on a number of projects right now. One or two I hope to film here once they're greenlit. So Florida's a great place to film. Everything's here. Yeah. The weather, the topography,
absolutely.
the people, the crews are still here. So great place to film.
And Alex, feel free and to also jump in and ask questions. Same with you, Dave. Did you have? Were you going to add to that?
I was just going to add to that and say I think there is an opportunity. I would love to see a music and film festival or a film and music festival, whichever one you want to put first. I think those kinds of things, and I was on a meeting with the city of St. Petersburg and the chamber. They meet every first Wednesday of each month this morning, and one of the things I had spoken with the president about, and I also echoed this morning to the folks who were participating, that I think there's such a great opportunity. Mm-hmm. And I think right now is in this paradigm shift, the unexpected paradigm shift in culture and climate, that we have this amazing opportunity to recreate or to create, right, something that is very special and unique to this area. I mean, take advantage of the sand, take advantage of our sunshine, take advantage of this amazing, that is not too big, it's not too small, is right there in a sweet spot, I would consider it, and that we can bring more of this together, and even if it's the embrace and cultivation around how do we bring more of the folks in the entertainment industry here. I mean, we got sports entertainment that's banging. I mean, the champions now, right?
Good year.
It's a great year. It's a great year. And so I think there is an opportunity to really ride this other major and very important, I should say, to the economic ecosystem, is what we bring to the table as in the creative industries, and that's the reason I put that tag on that creative workforce, because it's very important to see that is a viable. If you're singing, dancing, acting, we teach, and these folks that I'm working with in our academy, our teens, they are going now. We got them on Broadway. They're coming back also when they're not touring. Wow. They're working with us. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm talking one student was excited because he got a call to say, come and try out for this television show. I can't say the name of it, but it was a major daytime television show. Another with a major production out in California, but they come back and they want to work here. They said if we could find it, we can say come back. And so we got one of the guys who was the first genie in the world tour working with us now to produce a project for our organization. Who's an alum of ours, of our organization.
Love it.
Lives in New York, come back here. So we have an amazing to impact not only just our community, but by creating this environment, impacting the world. So
And you're setting up people for success too. At the same time.
Exactly.
That's great.
Absolutely. It's like a
that.
win-win situation. So David, what needs to happen to get those incentives back? I mean, what do we need to do as a community? Can we do anything as a community?
Well, right now it's a state legislature issue is what it is. And again, what happened back in 2010, literally, I mean, in God's good timing for me, it's incredibly good timing. I had about 2 months probably to green light Dolphin Tale, or it would go away. And in May of 2010, the legislature passed a film and cinema package. Governor Chris signed it, and then I got greenlit. So it's a legislative issue, and it's just a matter of contacting your local legislators. Because right now they're in session. This is day 2 of the session right now. And what happened in Florida again is everybody assumed in Florida, well, because we're Florida, Disney and all these organizations, and Warner Brothers, Alcon Entertainment, all my partners, they're all going to film here because it's Florida. Well, what they found out is they want to film here, but if you get 30% savings going to Georgia, guess what? You're going to Georgia.
Absolutely.
Or you're going to New Mexico. Even when Ben Affleck did the film, it was about Ybor City. And you probably know the story. Rather than filming in Ybor City, which made sense, they built an Ybor City set in Georgia because they actually saved money building a fake Ybor City in Georgia than filming in Florida.
Talk about the dollar amount. Like, how many millions of dollars goes into making a film like that, like a Dolphin Tale?
Yeah,
Dolphin
they're
Tale
all different. But so the budgets vary anywhere from $10 to $100 million, depending on what you're doing. But the economic impact, like in our case, what Dolphin Tale did, which was very unique in our area for the worldwide, was it was a story based on a real life story, of course, about the work we did at Clearwater Aquarium, winter story, and all we did with rescued animals. So it was about an identifiable place, identifiable animal in a team. So when it came out, we just had a huge economic impact on tourism. And it's going on today. And we did studies that show that Dolphin Tale was bringing on average a $500 million a year economic impact into Pinellas County every year.
$500 million a year
so
every year.
Over billions of dollars. Because people, they watch the film, they want to come see Winter and CMA.
Yeah.
So films have all kinds of impacts. So the ROI for the state and the counties can be huge.
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of, it's the giveaway to studios when you do a film incentive. You're actually creating jobs. The Clearwater Aquarium in our last study we did, economic impact study we showed post Dolphin Tale, was we support 11,000 jobs in the area. So we have about 300 people there still working at CMA as employees, but we support 11,000 jobs. And that came from 2 movies. So entertainment works. It's not just a matter of the state gives incentives and it goes away. No, this creates jobs, local economic impact.
So let me ask you this. So, for instance, Alex has a great story to tell. I mean, 8 kids, started a band when they were young. His dad's a pastor, his mom's an educator. I mean, all the makings for a great story.
Yeah.
So, David, to even get a story noticed by filmmakers, what needs to happen? And is it affordable? I mean, do you put together a reel?
By the way, I want to do his movie, so
okay.
That's what I know right now.
Wait, this is very exciting. This is very exciting. You heard it on the record. You heard it on the record right now that David Yates wants to do Alex Harris's story.
Give me your agent's name.
Sorry, the poor guys, poor Joe
Thank
in
you.
the audio room is probably like, oh my God, her microphone is like going blah, 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 But yes.
Here's what I tell people.
Okay.
I do a lot of counseling, and I have 5 projects I'm working on right now that are films. Another 4 or 5 more behind the scenes. I'm asked a lot. How do you get a film made?
Right.
It's not easy. It's not easy to do, depending on what level you're trying to accomplish. But here's what I tell people: the first thing to do is do what you do. Get out, and tell your story.
Right.
Tell your story. What happened for me is, I took Winter's story. I saw it, and I said, this is a very inspiring story about a dolphin who lost his tail, refused to give up. I said, I need to tell this story. People will love this story. How can you not love a story about a young dolphin overcoming, right? Mm-hmm. So I began telling it to media. I have a lot of national media contacts. I got on the Today Show and Oprah, and I started pushing it everywhere I could to tell my story, which was a Winter story and Clearwater Aquarium story. And that caught attention of the New York side, and I talked to Robert De Niro's people about doing the movie, then Alcon Entertainment and Warner Brothers saw it. So I just tell people, tell your story. It also depends on what you want to do. Do you want to do a documentary? Do you want to do a major motion picture? What are your goals with telling your story under the film format? Lots of ways to do it. You can do a documentary for a very limited budget if you want to do that. You can do a feature film. The way you can shoot today, you can do things that you couldn't do 10 years ago. Your budget can be much, much less. For example, Dolphin Tale was a $35 to $40 million budget. You can do a good quality film now for $2 or $3 million if you know what you're doing, or even less, depending on what your goal is. So, but the main thing is to tell your story, and they say to get some pre-awareness in the marketplace.
But how do you do that? Do you shoot things on your phone, and do you put it on YouTube, or?
You mean initially just telling your story?
Yeah, initially getting your story out. What would you suggest?
Here's the beauty. The beauty is with the digital media world, that's how you do it. I tell people, if you haven't gone digital, the bus has gone. Chase the bus down the road.
Exactly.
But just learn how to get your story out on using all the digital platforms. The tools are there. You don't have to go find the tools. They're there. You just have to know how to use them and how to differentiate your story so people want to get behind it. It's all about having a digital media plan. Having a digital media plan, you do it yourself right now. That's the way to get your word out. But also use media. I use media. I mean, media is free. I just took my story out, and we were on national networks everywhere, locally, all the time. I did hundreds of interviews. Just use the tools that are out there, social media-wise, and the normal general media, and just tell your story. You got an amazing story. I can tell that right now.
He does have an amazing story, and I can tell you, just being in local news for so long, every single day, reporters have to pitch stories. So what do you do? And I tell people this all the time. Find out your local newsrooms. Find out the assignment desk people, right? Vicky Benchamal being one of my most favorite at WFTS. Find that local assignment person and email them. Let them, here's my story. It doesn't have to be this huge, long document. It could be like 3 or 4 paragraphs. You just need to catch someone's attention.
And the beauty is, they're always looking for good stories. We probably had, literally in my 14 years at Clearwater and Aquarium locally, 500 or 600 stories. And we just had stuff all the time because we had compelling things to talk about. And then you look at local, Bay News 9, 24 hours a day, they're also looking for stories. They all are. So the media is always looking for good stories. People don't realize that.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't realize you can get on local TV. You just have to know how to pitch your story and tell it. They're looking for good stories.
They are looking for stories. They have so many hours to fill. So, David, talk to us about your recent project. In fact, Alex was just in my office, the oldest cigar building in Tampa, Florida, and we were discussing the newest project that you're working on, Quina.
Yeah, there's a local amazing story that happened locally here, and you're a big part of it. A young lady named Quina, back a number of years ago, 13 years ago, I guess, was attacked at a library drop-off in the evening, and was sexually assaulted and attacked and nearly lost her life. Pushing Ahead has been a very inspiring story about how her and her mom and her sister, so it's Quina and Vanna, have kind of rallied around and got her support. Community got behind this. She's still in therapy today, trying to move her life ahead, but just a very inspiring story of overcoming. And the mom, so Quina is the young lady who's attacked, of course, well. And Sarina, to your credit, you got behind the story.
Thank you.
And when you did that, when you were at ABC, that really helped get the story out there, and that helped them get them support they needed medically. But the mom, what people don't know, the mom, Vanna, is a Vietnam refugee who has her own amazing survival story. So it's a parallel story I'm working on right now of the mom's journey and now the daughter's journey. And the story, the essence of the story is about 3 strong women and how they've overcome and how they galvanize the community behind. We talk about community behind them. Right. And so we're working on that as a possible feature film, and I'm pitching that pretty much as we speak. But it's just, and people love real life stories. In the world of filmmaking, all my projects but one are based on real life stories. And I specialize more in the family and faith-based area, which is this film fits. But people just love inspiration. They want good content, inspirational stories. And Quina's story, which you helped develop, is an amazing story of overcoming.
I started crying when you said that I was one of the 3 inspirational women. I mean, honestly, I literally started crying. But I want to bring Alex back into this because, Alex, you have talked so much about faith. You know, your three, it's music, education, and faith.
Right.
Why do you think that faith trends right now? Like, and I shouldn't say trends right now, it always does, right?
Right.
But what is it about faith?
I think in the soul of our existence, we grasp or we search for that something of hope. We sometimes attach that word to it. We search for inspiration. I think in the existence of humanity, there is something that we want. And so we see folks and we hear of stories of people, engaging different things in search for that. One of the great things that in my experience growing up, and my not just the experience of being in our parents who are amazing faith leaders, but also creating an environment for our own discovery. And so once we become of age, we have that decision to continue to pursue that which we've been introduced to, or to veer off into something else, right? Fortunate for me, I would like to say, I was able to continue the pursuit of faith. And so in that pursuit, there are many discoveries of my strengths and my gifts and talents and how they can be used for the betterment of humanity. Or even before I get to others myself as a human being, and allowing that to come forth or to shine brightly through the various gifts and talents. And what is purpose, and identifying purpose within that in an external expression, I'm able to help someone else have that same kind of discovery. So faith for me is beyond, as I continue to understand the four walls of a particular organization that focus on a specific way of expression on a particular day, but something that is a lived experience on a day-to-day basis, and through the gifts and talents each has been entrusted with, right? And so for me, on a day-to-day basis, is saying, help this person that's in need, and how can I help them? Do I give them money, or do I sing them a song, or do I write a song for them that would inspire them, or do I create an opportunity or access to the opportunity and make it equitable for someone who would not normally do that? I think that's faith lived loudly. That's faith expressed in a way, or in a script, or saying, how do I take your story? So I think that faith experience and discovery of something that is greater than our existence, it awakens something within us. Yeah. And when we pursue or respond to that, and then we see that, for the lack of a better expression, the magic happens, right?
Yes.
And I think that's what that's what faith is. And so when I talk about music, it's an extension of that. When I talk about even my educational exploration and pursuits is an extension of that. And so because I think that the faith is the awakening point for me to say there is something greater than my own existence, is the connectedness to the greater in the universe through you and the others. And we're all actually one, and we are contributors to each other, whether we know it or not. And so it's very important when we are aware of that, then our contribution becomes more wholesome, becomes more kind, becomes more loving, right? Because this is just a shell of the real us, right? And the real us is that soul of our existence, which our faith seeks to connect with on a day-to-day basis. And that's what I believe in, try and practice.
So gentlemen, and David, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was going to ask, do you feel, especially now, during this unprecedented time, and I know there's depth of field out there, right? So you guys, people who are watching don't know that we are far apart. But do you think, especially now, with this unprecedented time, with COVID, what we're going through, I know things are improving. Do you think that's more important than ever?
Just what I was going to say. So what's happening, I think, in the world of entertainment industry right now, whether it's music, film, whatever, the big growing area right now, or genre, is the faith-based arena. And I can tell you, in the world of filmmaking, it's becoming a huge, all the studios are recognizing, there's money to be made here, because people want that. They want that. Right. Whether it's music, whether it's a film, or both combined. So my work specifically is in the area of faith and family films. That's just who I am, number one. Yeah. I'm a Christian. That's kind of what I go by anyway. But the world, that is the number one, I mean, even without COVID, But with COVID now,
Right.
as you said, and all the issues of depression and mental illness increase and those things, people want to be inspired. They want a faith-based message.
Right.
So there's no question right now, it's never been more ripe for what you're doing and what I'm trying to accomplish right now.
Faith,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you bet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And, you know,
That's an old
I mean,
saying in the
Queen of
church.
Story, isn't
yeah,
it?
that's Queen's story,
Yeah.
Alex's story. I mean, and so Alex's dad, as he mentioned, is also
Pastor.
a
Pastor,
pastor.
yeah.
So, Alex, touch upon that too, and you, David, too. I mean, you both have been very, very instrumental. And again, this is all giving me goosebumps with the younger education, and I mean, touching the younger people. Why is that both so important to you? I mean, I love children myself. You know, I have a 13-year-old. But why do you feel that it is so important? How many kids do you have, Dave, again? Yeah,
4.
Yeah, 4. What
But
a
I have
blessing.
about 5 million stepkids from CMA, I'll tell you about.
Yes, yes. And Alex and his beautiful wife, Emily, not yet, but I'm hoping, one day. I don't mean to embarrass you.
Oh, no, that's
No
fine.
pressure, but you're live right now. So.
No pressure.
On the record.
Yeah, on the record, yes, on the record. Why do you think it is so important for us to influence, especially the younger children?
Well, I think that it's important for us to use our platform of influence, because whether we know it or not, we're influencing someone. And I think that's the reason why we have to live responsibly. We never know what we're saying or what we're doing, how it impacts someone else. So as we become older and we realize what our gifts and talents are and the strength of the power of the gifts, and it says, okay, how might I use my gifts of influence to influence someone in a positive way, to think twice about the choices that she or he makes before making taking that step in doing or saying whatever is said or done. So I think it's very, very important, and that's one thing. The second thing is that because we are aware, or when we become aware of the power of our gifts, to be very intentional about our influence. Because when we're intentional about our influence, then we say by happenstance or as a byproduct, I impact 1, now I can impact 10. Because I understand my own gifts, and now I'm utilizing my platform intentionally. There's one thing I can get up and just sing, but if I go in the studio and make a quality record, I realize that where I just can sing in my parents' church or on the corner, I may, impact a few, and there's a place for that. But if this is a gift and I've been entrusted with this gift, why not maximize my gift, right? Why not believe that and take that faith experience and says, I can hope for those things that I see not, and then with patience wait for it, right? And so I'm going to go all the way as much as I can, and with patience, though, say if my gift takes me across the street, I'll go there, but I can think bigger than that. It can take me across the world, because as I've impacted those across the street, why can't I impact 10 million now, right? And so I think that we must be intentional about utilizing our gifts and talents. And that's the way I saw. We grew up in a small town, and our parents poured into us, but that was 8 children. Now we're impacting world. I mean, brother is a president of Yates University, another's an attorney helping people every day, another works for the government, another is impacting through his production, another sister is teaching, another is acting, another is being musical director with the Emmys and Grammys, and did the arrangement for God Bless America on the NFL on the Super Bowl.
Wow.
So we've all found the gifts and talents, and that's what intentional use of the gift is, and I think in our influence, and that's what we have to be very mindful and responsible in using that. And I can go on about this, so I'm going to yield to David.
No, you're right.
I love that, intentional.
No, you did
Yeah.
exactly what I did, and you're right on. So when I first started telling Winter's story, I was hired back in 2006 to kind of do a turnaround of Clearwater Aquarium. It's in financial trouble, and I needed to tell the story somehow and raise awareness of our work. And I saw Winter's story. I said, I need to go tell this. So I originally told it to try to drive awareness and bring revenue into Clearwater Aquarium. But when I started getting letters and letters and letters and dozens and thousands of emails and calls and letters from families of children going through these are kids in hospital beds I work with every day. My book, upcoming book, I talk about this. And when I saw that, I realized this is not just a cool story. I have a responsibility to tell this story, to be very intentional, as you said. And we've reached millions of kids. We literally have had hundreds of thousands at Clearwater Aquarium contacts, emails, visits of kids having every issue known to mankind. These are kids sick, in hospital beds, having cystic fibrosis, on the autism spectrum, you name it. And I have hundreds I keep in contact with today. I'm sure they're texting me right now. Oh, wow. So it's like you said, you take what you have. It's not about you. It's about changing the lives of other people and being very intentional. So we're right on. And to me, what a blessing that was. So I've literally had the privilege of, I have met tens of thousands of families during my time at the aquarium. They came in and their child found hope because they connected to a little dolphin who refused to give up. And they needed hope, they needed inspiration. And this is, I could tell you stories for years about this. So you're right, being intentional, recognizing it's not about me. It's not just a cool story, it's about changing lives and impacting lives. And you're doing that yourself, so that's great.
Thank you.
And I just want to point out, David, you're focused though on filmmaking.
Yes.
Yes, and so.
Yeah, I'm doing writing a number of books, but my majority of my time is filmmaking right now. And again, kind of taking the platform I've got to a slightly different level. So yeah, excited about it.
You guys are both so inspirational. I mean,
Thank
so
you,
much of
Sarina.
what you said. Is there anything that you would like to add that I did not ask you?
I'm honored to be with you two right now. You need to be a movie, man.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do it.
Hey, it's all about connections and who you know and people and honestly, like, you've both made my day. Before we end the show, though, I just did a Facebook Live for the Ronald McDonald House. So I wanted to say that there's a dry cleaner, Zips Dry Cleaning, in 2206 South Del Mabry in South Tampa. And right now they have these. Am I on this camera right here? It's $5, $3, and $1. You can donate, and all of the money goes directly to the Ronald McDonald House, which, as we all know, really help families.
Great place.
So, if you're in that area and want to go buy Zips, I think that's great. Anything we can do, to support. But, okay.
Well, thanks
David,
for what you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate
You're impacting
it.
the community, so.
I love sharing stories. Now, David, would we be remiss, though, not to ask Alex to sing a few bars before we close out the show? Come on now.
That has to happen.
It has to happen.
I noticed you didn't ask me to sing, because I can't sing,
Listen,
so
I would
please.
love for you to sing, but can you imagine if we, in this whole show, people will be like, okay, you didn't ask
What's
him
he
to
gonna sing?
sing,
Yeah.
and what is your latest song? So we need a little something.
I will sing. Here's what I respond. With our academy, one of the things when I first started, and I heard about the Motown story about Barry Gordy. I love stories.
Yeah.
My wife and I sit and watch documentaries all the time, especially about music. And he has shared in one of the documentaries that he was sharing his story. He was talking about how people would walk in to his field, USA, and they would just sing, and they would kind of audition on the spot. So fast forward, I'm here in Florida, and when we started during our pilot phase of the Arts Conservatory for Teens, they were walking the historic Royal Theater, that's where we started, on 22nd Street, and they would say, I want to, sing, or they want to go see the studio, and I would just say, okay, sing, dance, right on the spot. They say, now? I say, yes. So I say, always be ready. So I say that to say that I always, now I practice, have a song in my back pocket. I tell singers, have a couple go-to songs, or if you're a dancer, to have your dance. If you're a poet, have your poem. If you're an actor, have your monologue, whatever that you can go to. So with that being said, I'm going to sing a little bit of this song, a cappella, obviously, that I wrote during the national lockdown, and it's the love song that's now in the top 40. It was named as one of the top 40 R&B songs in all North America in USA Today, just recently. So it's trailing up the Billboard charts. So we're putting great energy out there. We have Dolphin Tales, and we have a #1 record.
There you go.
And soon coming movie. I love it. No, seriously. So this is about being vulnerable to love and not being afraid to fall in love. So the first part says, lifetime of lover seemed like a long time till I met you, girl, you changed my mind. Take me to heaven every time. more happiness than money can buy. Let the world keep spinning around. I found a place for my soul. You're the good I've been waiting for, and I won't let go. Yeah, yeah. 'Cause every day I keep falling for you. In love with everything about you. Every day got me feeling brand new. Said I'm crazy about the things you do. Oh, and I can't resist. I'm falling for you. 'Cause every day I keep falling for you, you.
Yeah.
Wow, that was amazing.
On the
Oh
spot.
my gosh,
Wow.
that was amazing.
Fantastic.
Thank you
Great, great.
so much, Alex Harris. Thank you so much, David Yates. And that brings us to another end of the episode of On the Record. Thank you so much, you guys, for sharing your story. And thank you, everyone, for joining us and all your support. You can always follow me on all my social media platforms, and you can subscribe to this podcast so you never miss an episode. And see, you don't want to miss an episode. Until next time, stay safe.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.